the happy mess really comes up next, because we've had a lot of times when we've had defensive line and no defensive back, or we've had some, maybe a strong defensive back or two, something, maybe in the linebacker range that's helped us solidify that back end a little bit, and then no defensive line. So we've always seemed to have kind of one or the other. We never really have had both. So what we have to do now, what the coaches are going to be tasked with, is finding the defensive line that can approximate something close to last year's production and get it going a little bit early on. As you might remember, we had a couple suspensions early on. McKinley Jackson, Michael Clemons. Didn't hurt us too terribly bad, but thinking about kind of going into that Arkansas game without these guys having played in the first two games really makes me just think what the season could have been, provided we had had that as well. Of course, we had needed other things to fall into place offensively for that to work out, but you get the idea. We had issues on both sides of the ball with getting things solidified. And now we've got basically an all-new defensive line coming in. So this is a big task. This is maybe the largest task that this coaching staff is going to have this year. We do have to pick a QB. That's a really big one as well. We got to figure out the left tackle, left guard to get that offensive line solidified, and that's a huge task too. But we're talking about one spot for QB, two spots for offensive line. We're almost talking about four spots along the defensive line. Now, I fully expect McKinley Jackson is going to be starting, probably somewhere right guard, nose tackle, something like that. Potentially, it looks like Isaiah Rakes played a lot last year, so it might be thought of that he is going to go over into the left guard position, because he played so much, because he's got so much experience. I mean, he is a quality player. He's a big guy. He's got some get off on him too. Not quite as solidified as McKinley, but man, just a really, really solid guy that played for us last year. If it weren't for what we potentially have coming in, I think I'd say that was going to be the guy. But I think it's more likely, and hear me out on this. This is why it's such a happy flipping mess, because you got so much talent there. We just went over the DB talent. The defensive line talent is pretty much matches the DBs. The reason why I went with the DBs as being a little bit of a stronger group is because there's a little bit more seniority there with Damani and Antonio, and then you've got Jalen's got 2 years under his belt. The offensive line is going to be a bit more green. Hell of talent that's going to be there, but it's going to be lack of experience, and we might be saying that throughout the year. The sooner we get that solidified, the stronger this group's going to be. So let's run through some of this, right? So instead of Isaiah Rakes being at left guard, what I'm wondering is this going to be Shamar Turner's breakout season? He is my player to watch for breakout player of the year. I think this guy was chomping at the bit last year. I think he has got a motor like we haven't seen maybe since, we've seen quite a few good motors, so I want to maybe qualify that just a little bit. But, thinking of somebody like Myles Garrett. Now, he's going to be playing on the inside, not the outside, not the edge, but a motor similar to him, somebody that's just ready to go, somebody that's hungry and thirsty. And he's got all the talent and tools to be able to dominate right there on that left side. So look for him to replace Leal right there. So McKinley replacing Peavy technically, although McKinley played a lot, Isaiah played a lot as well right there, but Leal right there in the left side. Shamar looks like he's, to me, going to end up there. I'll be surprised with the coaches if they don't end up that way, right? So he's got every bit, I think, of Leal in him that we've had so far, and that's extremely good news. Anything coming close to that is going to serve us really well, right? Okay, so let's get out on the edges now. Michael Clemons over here, Tyree Johnson on the right side. Guys played. I don't think I would have thought they were going to play that well going into last season, but they did. I was extremely thankful for it. I thought Michael Clemons might have that shot to do it, and he did it. He did every bit of it. I think Tyree, I think he went undrafted, but I believe he's going to end up making, somebody a fairly quality defensive end. Clemons goes over to the Jets, and this guy is going to be difficult to replace. As soon as I say that, I feel like I'm going to take a step back and I almost say I think we've got somebody ready to go, because Fidel Diggs played so much last year. I would say it was sparing it to some degree, but he got in there quite a bit, and we saw good production from him. I don't think I would have even noted it as a fall off in one way, shape, or another at all. So he filled in extremely well for Clemons whenever he had to come in, and I don't see why it wouldn't be him playing right there, except for, again, the possibility that we may be forced to play somebody that's just so much more talented, or ends up being able to put out more production because of their talent. That's a possibility, and we got a few names we need to get through to go through that. But let's just assume maybe Fidel for a moment on the left side. I'd be interested to see what the coaches are going to work out over there on the left side. On the right side, I'm thinking, and I'm looking particularly at two guys, and they might be just kind of more of a 1-2 punch situation. We might be doing a little bit things on this defensive line by committee to some degree, just because we have so much talent. But we brought in a guy last year I don't think played much of a snap, played in the spring game, looked like he might have been commanding double teams to me, and that's Toon Meese. And I'm extremely excited for this guy. I watched his commitment all the way through, and he's a big guy. He's just south of 300, right where that's about where Clemons was, right? So Fidel is a little bit more of a Tyree Johnson body type, a little on the lighter side, about 270, but Toon Meese is not. So maybe technically he's going to be taking over for Clemons, and Fidel might be taking over for Tyree. But then right behind Toon Meese is this new guy that's come in that I thought had been there for 3 years already whenever I watched the spring game, and that was Anthony Lucas. And this is a name you're going to want to know, and you will know his name at some point, I guarantee it. I don't know if it's this season or next, or the season after that, but you're going to know it. He's a big guy. He's strong, he's physical, and he is going to play that edge. His impact's going to be noticeable. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to make predictions yet, but I really cannot be going through all those commits from last year. I would have named a certain few others from that group that I was like, wow, I'm really excited about this guy. Chris Marshall, right, wide receiver, Evan Stewart, guys that we needed in positions that we needed extremely bad. We got Walter Nolan in. We haven't even talked about him just yet, right? But like the number 2 recruit in the country, I think number 1 defensive lineman, huge pickup for us, right? But here I am talking about Anthony Lucas. Well, he made it in for spring ball. Walter's coming in or is already there for the summer, and will be there for fall. And I just can't help but gush over Anthony. Time will tell. Time will tell where this guy's going to end up playing, but he's going to be in there. And if not him, let's just roll off a few other names real quick, right? And Nia White coming off the edge. Dindy, probably more of an inside guy, like Nolan will be. But you've got Anai. And I know I'm forgetting 1 or 2 guys here. We also picked up Labius Overton, remember, a reclassification, looking like a 2023 guy, and came in 22. Shamar Stewart. Oh my gosh! I just rolling off 3 and 4 star. 4 and 5 star guys here, So Something's assuredly going to work out. You can bet that. With this amount of talent in the room, iron sharpening iron, somebody is going to show through. I feel extremely confident about that. So we're in the neighborhood, let's see, about 12 to 14 guys, and they are just all ballers. I've talked about Darius Jones a lot in the past, and I've been very high on him. He got in a little bit last year, especially when Rakes was in. He's a great second string guy. Did a great job, just like Rakes did. It's just going to be difficult for him to get on the field with these people coming in. Like I said, Walter Nolan coming in, and man, I would say man amongst boys, except for he's a man amongst other men. That's how much we have in this room this year. So that has to get figured out. And it will get figured out. These coaches have done a great job. Elijah Robinson, Coach Price, they've proven that they know what to do. And the way they got that defensive line ready last year, thinking about Tyree and Clemons, guys that, a couple years ago just didn't really factor into the equation. And they found a way, and they got them in there, and they were productive, and they're, especially in a Clemons situation, getting drafted now. That's development. That is development. So can they do that with these guys? You bet they can, and they will. We just got to figure out who it's going to be. We don't know. They don't know just yet. They haven't been through fall ball, but I trust them. They'll get it figured out, and they're going to put they're going to put a product out there on the defensive line, and it's going to be solid. How solid? That's going to be a question. But running Durkin's defense, very similar to Elko's, but got some nuances. They are going to be expected to play very similar, play a lot of assignments that's going on. And of course, this is going to segue us right on into linebackers after this, because if they do their jobs, our linebackers do their jobs, everyone does their jobs. I mean, it's a happy football game going on. We'll be fine, right? But it's not so much that it's going to be fine. What I'm trying to put out there is that if they get this line together, there is going to be a real chance that we are going to have an extremely high caliber team here, and one where the offense and defense have got what's needed championship wise. Hesitate to use that word, but the point is not so much that we're guaranteed one. It's just that we are as close to reloading as we have ever been. This is either maybe retool would be the better word for this, since we haven't reloaded ever before. It's maybe difficult to say, oh, okay, we're just going to reload now, right? But you've heard all the people. You know who's going in there. You know these people. They're going to be insert in here one way or the other. We have never gone with so many positions from 4-star right on back to 4-star, and in some cases upgrades. If we can upgrade at cornerback with Denver Harris, if we can upgrade at left tackle with Toon Meese, defensive left edge, with him, if we could do the same on the other side with Anthony Lucas, if Walter Nolan's playing in the middle, McKinley Jackson's playing on the other side, or Shamar Turner, a 5-star. I mean, we're talking about Shamar Stewart, 5-star. It's just happening over and over and over again. This is as close to a reload as we've ever had. But we've got to answer some questions. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's what these coaches are going to have to do, is answer some questions. And they're going to knock on a lot of doors, and they're going to figure out who wants to play, who's ready to play. And they're going to have a 2-deep, extremely important as well. We're going to be as deep as we've ever been. And getting this figured out is going to be one of the most glorious things we will have seen if it happens. Okay, I'm really thinking and expecting. I give it a high probability that it will. And when this meshes with that offense as well, we are going to see some fireworks. I really do believe that. I really do. So